Hi everyone, hope you all are good. We are here for grade 9 math. You can find all students.com. You have to log in there using your password as provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math. From the subject tab, scroll down to grade 9 and then click on view all lessons. There you can find a list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter radical functions and equations. So please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down examples, definitions as well. Okay, so here I am on grade 9 math. Let's just start with the first lesson, that is solve radical equations part 1. Let's just start with the first example. Solve for p. P equals square root equals 1.1. You have to solve for p, but the value is given for square root p, right? So squares and square roots are opposite to each other. So you have to take square both sides, right? This way 2 and square root got cancel out, and on the other side you have to do 1.1 square. That would be 1.21. So P equals 1.21. Let's just start with the test questions. Find the value of n. So you simply have to calculate the value of n, but here you are given the square root n. So square root and squares are opposite to each other. So let's just calculate square. You are left with n equals 19 square is 361. So n equals 361. Option number 2 is the correct option. The correct option is 361. Solve, which is the correct option. You have to do the same thing, just calculate the square both sides. Yes, that is G equals 100. Option number 2 is the correct option. Solve for K. So which is the correct option? The correct option is 81. Option number 2 is the correct option. You have to square both sides. That would be K equals 81. The correct option is you have to square both sides, right? Because you have square root u equals 1.2 and square roots are opposite to each other. So you have to square both sides. So then u equals 1.44. Option number 2 is the correct option. Solve for h. So which is the correct option? Yes, that is h equals 289. Option number 1 is the correct option. The correct option is w equals, yes, option number 1 is the option. That would be 1 divided by 121. Option number 2 is the correct option. 1 is the correct option, sorry. Yes, that is f equals 4. The correct option is 4. The next one is solve for m, which is the correct option. That is m equals 0.36. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is option number 2, c equals 400. Option number 2 is the correct option. Solve for p, which is the correct option. That is p equals 1.21 because you have to take square root both sides, square both sides, right? Squares and square roots are opposite to each other, so the correct option is 0.21. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself. Just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is evaluate a radical function. Let's just start with the next lesson. Okay, so use the following function rule to find f of 171. So you have to evaluate the function for f equals 171. So how do we evaluate? First thing here is you are given the equation f of x equals 6 square root x minus 121. Replace all the x with 171, right? So replace the x with the value 171 and then evaluate, right? So 171 minus 122 is 49. Evaluate 49 square, that would be 6 times 7 equals 42. Okay, let's just start with the practice questions. Let's see how do we solve, right? Okay, let's do the practice questions. The first one is f of x equals 10 square root 166 minus x. You have to evaluate for f 102. So replace all the x with 102. That is 10 square root 166 minus 100, right? So 166 minus 102 is 6064 it is. That is 10 square root 64. And square root 64 is 8 times 8. So you are left with 10 times 8 and 10 times 8 is 80. Got it? That's how you have to replace the variable x with a value and then you have to simply solve. So that is x equals 80. Option number 1 is the correct option. The correct option is 80. That's option number 2 is the correct option, right? Let's just move on to next example. Okay, use the following function rule to find f of 6. So you have to calculate f of 6, right? Replace all the x variable values with the 6. That is f of 6 equals 3 square root 6 plus 58. Here you have x, right? So that would be 3 square root 64, right? 64 is 8. That would be 3 times 8. 3 times 8 is 24. So the correct option is 24. Option number 2 is the correct option. So the correct option is 8 times 3 is 24. Option number 2 is the correct option. The following function rule to find f of 2. So which is the correct option? So which is the correct option? Is the x with 2? Yes, that is 20 of the correct option. F of x equals 10 square root x. You have to evaluate for f of 123, right? You are given the radical, that is f of x equal square root 21 plus x. So replace the x with 123, right? That would be then 12 square root 12 plus 120, 225, I think. No, 3 plus 2, 5, 2, yes, 123 and 12. Yes, 135 it is, right? 21, sorry, that's not 20. Let me just do it again. Here you have 20. 12 square root 21 plus 123, right? 3 plus 1 square root 12. 124 square root equals 112. 108. So which is the correct option? That's option number 1. 144 is the correct option. Got it? Option number 1 is the correct option. Use the following function to find, so which is the correct option. Which is the correct option? Yes, that's option number 1 is the correct option. 28 is the correct option. Use the following function. So when you evaluate it for the 3, the correct option is 9. Option number 2 is the correct option. To find f of 43, so which is the correct option? The correct option is 100. Option number 2 is the correct option. The correct option is replace the x by 191, right? So 191 minus 155 is, hold on, that is 36. So 6 times 4 is 24. Option number 1 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. The next one is domain and range of radical functions. Let's just start with the lesson. What is the domain of this function? Domain is all the x values of a function, and range is, here it is, range is all the y values of a function. The domain of a function is set of all possible x values, right? The largest x value on the graph is at the end point, where x is 8. All the other points on the graph appear to be the left of the endpoint, where x is less than 8. Got it? So just look at the graph, the domain, the x value. So just look at the x. You have the graph is starting 8 and going on the left side of the 8. That means all the x values that are less than 8 are the domain of this function, right? Because they all are the smaller values than 8, 6, 4, 2, 0, -2. So all the x values are the domain of the function. Let's just start with the test questions. What is the domain of this function? So domain is all the possible x values, right? So graph 0. And going this way, you can see on the left hand side of the 0, you have all values that are smaller, getting smaller and smaller and negative values, right? So that means the solution is x is less than x such that x is equal to 0. The correct option is option number D. The correct option is D. What is the domain of the function? That means all the x values graph is starting from 0 and on the left hand side. So that means all the values that are less than 0 is the solution. So the correct option is x less than equal to x is 0. Option number D is the correct option. Got it? What is the range of the function? So domain is the all x values and range is the all y values, right? So just look at the graph. Here is the y-axis, right? You have the graph is on the right hand side, right? But y is greater than equal to 0 is the correct option. Option number 3 is the correct option. That is y is less than equal to 0 because the graph is passing starting through the origin. So the correct option is option number C is the correct option. What is the function? The graph is starting on the x-axis at 5. All the values are less than 5. So that means x is such that x less than equal to 5. Option number 1 is the correct option. X is less than equal to 5. Option number 1 is the correct option. What is the domain of the function? So which is the correct option? You can see the graph is starting from -1 and going on the right hand side, right? So that means x is greater than equal to -1. The correct option is x is greater than equal to -1. The correct option is greater. Option number 1 is the correct option. What is the domain of the function? what is the domain of the function? So the graph is starting from the 8 and the values are decreasing, right? So the correct option is x is greater than 0 because the values are increasing. So the correct option is x is greater than equal to 0. Option number B is the correct option. What is the domain of this function? So you have to find the domain. So the correct option is x is less than equal to 8. Option number 2 is the correct option. Option number B is the correct option, right? X such that x is less than equal to. Got it? What is the range of the function? You have to see the range of the function. So range is all the y values. So here is the y values, right? That means x is y is less than equal to -1. Option number B is the correct option. Got it? Hmm. Y is less than equal to 5, but why 5? Okay, that means the correct option is option number D. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. Solve radical equations part 2. Huh. Solve for q. You have to solve this equation for q. So on the both sides you have the square roots. They cancel out each other, right? So you are left with -8q plus 1 equals -9q. Evaluate for q, right? Let's just start with the test questions. Okay, on the both sides square root, right? So they cancel out each other. You are left with 2v equals -8 plus 3v. So move 8 other side. 3v minus 2v equals v. v equals 8. Option number 1 is the correct option. The correct option is v equals 8. Option number 1 is the correct option. Solve for t. So the square roots cancel out each other. So you are left with -8t plus 1 equals -90. Move -8 the other side, right? 1 equals -9t plus 8t. That is equals 1. So t equals -1. The correct option is t equals -1. Option number 2 is the correct option. T equals -2. Solve for r. So which is the correct option? Which is the correct option? That is R equals 2. Option number 1 is the correct option. Oh, sorry, -2 it is. The correct option is -2. Solve for P, which is the correct option? The correct option is -1. Option number 2 is the correct option. That is -1. I'm just guessing the answers actually. That is 1. The correct option is 1. Solve for x. 8 plus x equals square root 3x. Basically, 3 is adding, right? The question is not correct. Let's see which is the correct option. 4. Oh, okay, the question is correct, right? You have to move x other side. That would be 3 plus 3 minus 1 is 2. So 2x equals 8. So x equals 4. The correct option is x equals 4. 2s equals square root 1 plus 2. So which is the correct option? The correct option is 1. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So we were working on grade 9 math, radical functions and equations. The lessons we have covered today are solve radical equations part 1, evaluate a radical function, domain and range of radical functions, and solve radical equations part 2. So please make sure before the next session you can complete all the practice questions for the lesson. That is your homework until next session. So if you need more help with any of, you can contact tutor on the Skype. They are available from Monday to Friday 5 to 9, or either you can join me in the interactive 4 to 5 and from 9 to 10. So you can please ask questions if you have any. No questions? Okay, then that's all for today. See you in the next session. Bye, everyone.